you know how regular people paddleboard, like you stand on the paddleboard and paddle away. We just sit on it and float. That's what we do.
There's a massive Sri Lankan population there, like massive.
It's like the Sri Lanka.
Yeah, you can't even compare to other states because it's so big. So basically you're turning into a grandma, is that right?
Oh, I 100% believe I'm a 70-year-old grandma. And I'm proud of it. I believe I've got a lot of wisdom. Like
my mom's like my best friend now, which I would have never ever thought would happen.
Yes.
Like
no way in hell.
I know, but now I'm like, I just need her with me all the time,
Growing up, I never thought my mom as like adorable.
But you see
but
her
now.
I know.
And she's just like a bundle of joy right now.
I know. I think
so
that
cute.
that welcome to our podcast. I'm Shenali.
And I'm Deshani. We are your hosts for the day. Thank you so much for joining into our podcast. Should we introduce ourselves?
Yes, I think so. Do you want to go first?
Yeah, okay. I'm Deshani. What do you say about yourself? I'm in Adelaide, South Australia. What do you say? Do you want to talk about our careers, or do we just want to say, what do you want to say?
Whatever you want to say.
Okay. So I work as an electrical engineer in mining, and it's usually a FIFO lifestyle for me. What about you, Shenali? Do we want to?
Yes, so I'm Shenali, as I mentioned before, and we're a bit awkward in this first one, as you can imagine. It is our first time doing this. It's my first time doing it, not yours.
It's also my first time.
You've got a bit of experience over me in the podcast world. Yeah. But yes, so I actually live in Brisbane, Queensland, and I've been living here for over 8 years now, which is crazy. And I work as a special education teacher for a government school here in Brisbane.
It's crazy to say that you've been living in Australia for 8 years.
I know.
It doesn't feel like...
It does not feel like it at all. I mean, that's 8 years. Over 8 years is almost a decade. And I just feel like...
That's
where
true.
Where did that time go? Like I came in 2015 and... Where did that time go? It's crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
So.
And I think for our audience, I think this is a bit of an unusual arrangement for a podcast because we're not in the same room.
That's right.
Yeah, so we're in two different states trying to make this work somehow.
Yes. And it's something I think we've discussed for a while. So, I mean, I'm sure most of the audience would know a little bit about your background in podcasting in the last few years. And the two of us actually had a video a few years ago, right? We did, I think, was it 2021, I think, maybe? Something like that.
I think so, yeah.
Or 2022, yes. So
I'm still in 2023.
Honestly, yeah. So it was a while ago, but we did a video together, and after that we did discuss this because we realized that we have quite a few things in common in terms of our thoughts and our wavelengths and our vibe. And we just thought, we'll do something. I don't know if it'll be super boring and if no one is going to listen to it. At least my mom will listen to it. So
I will listen to it over and over and over again.
I will not listen to it because I hate listening to my voice.
That's true.
So
it's a bit cringe.
It won't be me listening to myself, but at least my mom will listen to it. So I hope you guys like it. It's going to be a very chill, very relaxed kind of podcast.
Chit-chat.
Yes, chit-chat. That's what it is. Just two friends talking, just random things that we are interested in and what's going on. And there's nothing serious here. Don't take anything we take too seriously,
It's just going to be light entertainment.
Yes.
And something to keep you going. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So,
yes.
Yeah, this New Year's, it's still early 2024, still January. How was your New Year's? How was your
January is
Christmas?
almost ending. How
Almost.
nuts
We've only
is
got
that?
one week left.
I
can't-
know.
But you know what? I don't know if it's because I've been so busy at work, but I feel like I can't believe it's still January. Like I kind of
Oh,
forget
really? Okay.
that it's still January because right now I work at a projects environment, so and I'm new to that environment, so I'm learning here. So I feel like it's very fast paced, but everybody keeps telling me this is very slow for them because they haven't got a lot of projects going on because it's still January. A lot of the contractors are still away and there's not a
Really?
lot
Okay.
happening.
Okay.
But I think it's because I'm like learning a lot at the moment. I can't believe that it's like still January.
Right,
But then I
okay.
come home and I'm like, it's almost like January is almost over.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
the FIFO lifestyle for you like? Because I personally don't know anyone who does FIFO. And for those of you who don't know what FIFO is, it's fly in, fly out. This is mostly, I think, for a Sri Lankan audience who
Yeah.
are not very familiar with the concept of FIFO because I don't think it's a thing back home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So what is that like for you?
I think a lot of the mining is quite big in Australia for anyone joining us from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And a lot of the mine sites are not in metro suburbs or metro cities, like whether you take Melbourne. I don't think there's any mining sites in Victoria except for like few gold mines or whatever.
Okay.
But I think Queensland, South Australia, Western Australia, there are so many mine sites, but they're at the center of the whole state, like in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
Yeah.
So
Australia is a very big country.
very big
so-
country. But can you believe they've only got like 25 billion people?
I know, right?
Not
Isn't
sorry,
it
not
less-
million,
Million,
sorry.
yeah. Isn't it less than the population of Sri Lanka or similar? I think.
It's I think Sri Lanka's 21 million.
Right, okay. So close.
But
pretty close.
But still, Sri Lanka's so tiny.
so
compared
tiny.
to-
Yeah, Sri Lanka is just a little dot. And
Yeah.
but then a lot of
anyway,
Australia, I guess, is inhabitable. So
That's true. A lot of
Yeah.
it is mine sites.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. Keep
no,
going.
No, that's okay. Let's keep coming back. So coming back to it. So the fly-in, fly-out is mainly flying into the mine sites because it's because it's so far away from metro cities. Driving takes at least about 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
So to make the work-life balance or the lifestyle easier, that's how flying in and out, I think, happens because of that reason. So and everybody has on our mine site, everybody has different rosters. I work on a 5-2 roster, whereas some people work on a 5-2-4-3 roster. That simply means like you work 5 days and you have 2 days off for 1 week, and then the next week you'll have 4 days. You'll work for 4 days and you'll have 3 days off. And some
Right.
people have 7-7 roster, which is like the golden roster, where you work 7 days and you have 7 days off, which is essentially you'll be working 6 months a year. And
Right.
but yeah, so a lot of people have different rosters, and I think I've been doing this for almost a year now.
Yeah.
So far there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
But it's really nice, like when you're on site, you don't have to do the number one thing is you don't have to do any house chores, you don't have to cook, you don't have to clean or
Yeah.
do any of that, and you have a lot of time to yourself. Although your
Yeah.
work normally, if you take like any role in corporate, you would essentially work maximum of like 8 hours, I would say. 7.5, 8 hours, whereas on a mine site you would at least do somewhere between 10 to 12 hours
Oh, really?
a
Okay.
day. Yeah, so it's like either 5 to 5 or 6 to 6. But then
Is that expected or is that you just doing?
depends on,
doing it?
I think it comes with your roster. So if you work a 7-7 roster, then you're expected to do 12 hours because then you essentially have 7 days off as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, depends on the roster, but so far I don't hate it. I think it's, as long as you really like what you're doing on site, I think that can be really good. I like being I like when I'm in Adelaide, I'm completely detached from work.
That's
And
true.
when I'm
Yeah.
on site, I'm like fully focused on work.
Yes. Do you find
Yeah.
yourself getting lonely at the site, or like are you just very comfortable with being by yourself?
No, I think moving to Sri Lanka, moving to Australia from Sri Lanka, and being by yourself for a long time has also helped me
Right.
prepare for that. So I don't think it's like, I know there's a lot of things for you to do on site even after work. There's a
Okay.
pool. There's so many extra activities that people get together and do. So you're more than welcome to join them. But I can't, like, I'm after work, I just go to the gym, get dinner, and go to my room and watch a movie or just fall asleep. You know, the best thing about FIFO is like you get like 8 to 9 hours of sleep.
Oh
That's
wow.
the best thing.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, I think
jealous.
sometimes it's too much sometimes, but
There is no such
yeah.
thing.
But it can be, you know, there's like this sweet spot whether, like, for me, if I sleep over 8 hours, it's just I get a headache the next day.
Oh,
And
really?
it's
Okay.
just, yeah. But if I also sleep under like 7 hours, then that's also bad.
Okay.
But like, so far I've found 8 hours to be the sweet spot. What about you?
Right.
Can you just sleep for 12 hours and not like be great after that?
I can, but my bladder wakes me up at
Oh,
like
that's true.
multiple times a night, and then and then like this is TMI, but yeah, I'm constantly waking up because I drink a lot of water. I stay very hydrated, so I wake up a
Yeah.
lot. But yeah, I tend to get about 5 6 hours of sleep, which is not enough to be honest. But yeah, I'm trying to be better this year, and push it to 8. But yeah.
Do you normally go to sleep late or wake up early?
I
Or both?
wake up early now that I've started this new workout class that I'm going for. So I wake up at like 4:30.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
yes, because I start, like, my class is at 5 o'clock. So I try to get to bed at like 9 the latest. But most times I just sit in bed, like, thinking about everything, of course. So that is like, I'm just trying to put my body into a routine where
Yeah.
I know that I have to, and like, disconnect with devices, which I think is my biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like, trying to read a little bit so that it puts me to sleep, that kind of thing. So one of my 2024 goals is to get my sleep in order so that I
That's right.
can be well rested, because I need a lot of energy working with children, as you can imagine. So
How's that actually?
yes, it is. I mean, I love it. I do love it, I must say, but it is full on. Like, from the time you get to school, it's like bang, 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 bang in all sorts of directions. Things are going off, and you're trying
Yeah.
to keep these little humans alive and stay alive yourself and put out fires everywhere. So it's a lot of cortisol, like, going through your body because,
Yeah.
you're trying to just keep going.
Yeah.
But it's a very high energy job. You need a lot of energy, especially working with children who are like autistic or have a lot of like disabilities and things like that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like you have to be quite good on your feet and quite fit yourself, which is why, like, I'm trying to get into this workout regime, because I know in the
Yeah.
longer run it'll just be better for me physically
Yeah,
and
for your
mentally.
health. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Um,
we've experienced, both of us, we went to school in Sri Lanka. So
yeah.
you've experienced schooling and especially primary schooling in Sri Lanka. How's the experience different from the Australian schooling system, or how's
It's
that?
very, very, very different, I must say. But again, because I'm working in a special education context and I've never really, obviously, had that experience back
Yeah.
home, I mean, I'm a bit ignorant when it comes to special education in Sri Lanka. I don't think
Yeah.
there's a lot of resources from what I
Yeah.
know, unfortunately, which is very, very sad, because I feel like kids here have a lot of help and support from the
Yeah.
state that people here don't really realize because they haven't obviously seen the other side of it.
Yeah.
But so my my degree, my teaching degree was in mainstream schooling. It was not in special education. So all my placements that I did during my degree were in mainstream. So from what I saw during that time, because I've never worked in mainstream schools, I've only worked in special ed, but I did my placements in mainstream. I just found that, like, I don't know, again, if things in Sri Lanka are different now, because obviously I haven't gone to school in like over a decade. It's been a long time. I don't know if things have changed, but just listening to what my friends have said, I don't think it has changed much. I feel like Sri Lanka is very backward in a lot of ways. We are still very much the, memorize what is in your textbook.
That's true.
And do your exam. It's like a memory test, basically. Whereas here, it's more like, you do like 80% of your mark will be on assessments that you do during the school year, the entire school year, which adds up to your final grade, which is amazing because kids get like hands-on experience, and then they can even do things like certificates while they're still studying in school. Which they can do placements in different places and get real world experience when they go out into the world, which unfortunately I think Sri Lanka has a long way to go when it comes to that. But in special ed as well, like now thinking back, I can think of at least 5 of my friends who I went to school with who definitely had learning difficulties, but unfortunately they were not given the resources that they needed to succeed. And that could have taken them very far in life if they received that. But then our teachers were not equipped to handle that because they didn't know what it was. So you can't really
They probably
blame them.
haven't had that training.
No, of course not, and they have no idea. So you can't really blame them. And they were obviously not very open to accepting that. And they just thought it was, the child was just very stubborn, or they were just, dumb and they just didn't want to learn. They didn't work hard enough, that kind of thing, which is like thinking back, I'm very sad about it because, they could have, if they received that help, they could have been very different people now. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we've got a long way to go, unfortunately. Yes. So I'm very sorry. Like I completely avoided your question about how we celebrated fine. New Year and how New Year has been going because, of course, we got dragged onto other conversations. But regarding my New Year, honestly, it was pretty chill. I was just working because I was on school holidays then, but I do work during the school holidays as well. I just do like retail and that kind of little jobs. I just keep myself busy because I do tend to get very bored. So it was just very low key. I was probably in bed by like 9 o'clock and just What about you?
What did I do for New Year's? I think I went to a couple of my friends, and MJ and I, we went to this beach called Port Noarlunga. It's very famous for like snorkeling.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't go snorkeling. But
Are you not a fan or?
Oh no, I just like it, but I do like it, but I think it was so hot that day. It was just burning hot, and I was like, so I think before everyone else went snorkeling, we just we went paddleboarding.
Okay.
But you know how regular people paddleboard, like you stand on the paddleboard and paddle away. We just sit on it and float. That's what we do. It's very sad.
I mean, there is no manual, right? You don't have to do it one certain way. I don't think so.
Yeah, and like it's so hard to paddle. You need a lot of arm strength to do that. And I didn't realize that.
You do.
So I got really tired doing that. And then I just wanted to go home. Everyone else, I think from all of us in our friend group, I have the lowest amount of energy. I don't know why everyone
Aren't you also like the youngest or?
I am the youngest and with the lowest amount of energy and the lowest amount of alcohol tolerance and Yeah, and I just can't stay awake for a long time either. I usually
So
one time
basically,
I
you're
came.
turning into a grandma. Is that right?
Oh, I 100% believe I'm a 70-year-old grandma. And I'm proud of it. I believe I've got a lot of wisdom like a grandma.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't mind being a grandma. I just like to sit down, have my tea, and just judge people. That's what I do.
Yeah,
But no,
I can
yeah,
see
we
you with
went.
your tea
So
right now.
that's right. Oh, and also on site we have Dilma tea now, which makes me so
Oh, I
proud.
love that. I
Yeah,
love
we have like
that.
a whole range of like jasmine and green tea,
Yes.
chamomile tea, like all ranges in, and they have their individual packaging too with like the
Right.
Dilma brand. Makes me so happy. But
Yes.
anyway, we went pedal boarding and then we went to this Chinese restaurant and we went to one of my friends' places and then everybody started singing and then at 12 o'clock we just wished everyone Happy New Year and at I think 2:30 or 3 a.m. we came home and we just passed out. That's it. And then we didn't wake up until like 10 a.m. the next morning, which is what makes me upset about like going out and having a good time, because then I'm gonna ruin half of the next day because you're asleep for the half of it, and then you don't feel like and then at the end of the day you feel like you wasted a whole day and you feel so unproductive.
That's
It's
true.
just
But then
yeah.
also, it's kind of like a bit of a mindset shift, isn't it? Because if you think about the memories that you created
That's true. Yeah.
that previous night, then I feel like it would counter. I mean, I understand what you mean, especially when your days off are very limited. You kind of want to make the best of every
Yeah.
single day. So, but then if you've created enough memories instead of, just sitting on the couch and just wasting your day, I feel like maybe that kind of makes up for that.
That's true, yeah. I think, yeah, one thing I think I need to maybe, sometimes I'm always like so focused on being productive
That's true.
and like stressing on getting organized and all that. And then at the end of the day, I complain that I'm so tired and all of that. But sometimes you just need to take some time for yourself and just
I
enjoy
agree.
what's
Yeah.
around you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's something I personally struggle with as well, because again, like even though I do get school holidays, like I said, even because I do tend to work during that as well, my days off are very limited. And when I do get it, I'm like, okay, I have a check. I literally write a checklist at the start of every morning of things that I
Yeah.
need to get done. And it's like very petty things, like doing the laundry. That can
Oh, yeah.
that can
100%.
wait. That can wait. It's not like the world's not going to end if I don't do laundry, or the
That's
world's not going to end if I don't, unpack this cupboard that I've been meaning to do for the last like few months or something. Like it's
Yeah.
okay to sometimes listen to my body and
Yeah.
just chill. So which is actually
Yeah.
what I did this today. Like after I had a few hours of work this morning, and I literally just lay in bed, just sleeping and just coming in and out of sleep, because I know that my body really needed it, because I went back to school this week and it's been a very, very hectic week getting to know the kids, and the kids are kind of out of routine, and
Is this the first week back?
this is the first week back for us in Queensland. Yes. So the kids are getting to know their new classroom, their new friends, their new teachers, and they are adjusting. So they are going through their own little dilemmas, and that has been quite tough. So I've had days in the last in the last week basically, where I've just been crying at work because it's been pretty tough. So
Wow.
yes, so I've come, like today I was like, okay, I'm just not going to beat myself up if I'm just going to lay in bed and just sleep or read a book. And I didn't even do any cooking, and I was like, that's okay, I'll just eat leftovers, or we've got a little freezer with freezer meals in it, I'll just eat that, and that's fine. Like
Yeah.
it's okay to forgive myself sometimes for doing things like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's something that we all kind of need to work on as
That's
adults
true.
when we've got very
Yeah.
limited time, that sometimes we need to listen to our bodies and listen to our minds and do what's best for us.
Yeah, I think especially with social media being how big it is today, I think there's sort of image like sort of imprinted on all of us to be like, oh, that girl is so productive, she got
So true.
everything,
So true.
she's so put together, and she's got everything figured out, and that's the
Yes.
goal.
Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
we fail to meet that goal, we just feel so bad about
Absolutely.
ourselves, and like
Yeah.
so unproductive. We feel so gross. We feel like we've achieved nothing,
Nothing.
which is not true. But so even that girl on social media, she's not gonna have everything figured out every day.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
social
I think
media at the end of the day, it's a cliche, but it is just a highlight reel. Like, it's very rare that people show, their bad days, because
Yeah.
it doesn't, it doesn't get what you want. Like, it doesn't maybe get views because,
Yeah.
people need to see the joy and the happiness. And there's so much good that comes out of social media, which I mean,
Yeah.
social media on its own, I think would be like a different podcast, like a different episode
Yeah.
for us. But like just, briefly touching on it, like it's just a highlight reel. And
That's
I
true.
think, I think thankfully, I feel like, and obviously you and I we are millennials. So I kind of feel like we grew up in that generation where we didn't have social media. So we had kind of a, social media free childhood, and then we had
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
for people or for children who kind of grew up with it their whole life, I really hope that they get the kind of awareness to know that it's just, it's just
Yeah.
a highlight reel. It's,
Yeah,
life
that's
is
true.
not always all this positivity and butterflies and rainbows, and, there's going to be bad days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And also, talking about your 4:30 a.m. workouts, how's that going?
Yeah,
Have you been doing that for a while now, or?
I just started it like a couple of weeks ago. I used to do so basically a few years ago. So last year in 2023, I went to Sri Lanka for like 3 months, which we will talk about later as well. Yes. But before that, I was consistently doing like reformer Pilates, like sometimes twice a day. And I used to wake up at
Pilates
like,
is hard.
it is hard, but it's amazing. So I was doing that like twice a day. I was to wake up at 4:30 and do that. And like I was very consistent with my workouts. And then I went back home, and then I completely fell off the bandwagon, and I just didn't work out at all for those 3 months. Then when I came back, I really struggled to get back on it because I was still kind of in holiday mode, and
Yeah, you kind of
yes.
miss home still.
I
and
was
you're like,
so freaking homesick. So I really struggled. And then I did a little bit of workouts, then went back, and then I stopped and started and all that. And then this year I was like, the cliche New Year resolution. I was like, no, I'm
Yeah.
going to be consistent. I'm going to be consistent.
Oh.
Yes. So I
Yeah.
started that, and it's like a very intense, cardio based classes. But I just love it because it's a very community. It's almost kind of like, for a lack of a better word, it's almost like a cult where they kind of...
Is this at 45?
It's a Fit Stop.
Oh, they don't have that here.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's similar
Yeah.
to F45. Yeah.
45. Okay.
Yeah. But it's a very supportive community. And then I found out that there's a lot of teachers in the group as well, like quite a few. So they all come before school starts. And
They
do
all
this.
need the energy.
Exactly, yes. But man, they are so fit. Obviously, they're like much older than me, but they are so
Yeah.
fit. But then that kind of pushes me because I'm kind of a person. I'm not really self-motivated to work out. Like I kind of need someone or some other people to push me. And that's why I keep and it's quite expensive, I must say. But I need that expense. I need
How
that
much
money.
is that if you don't mind me asking?
It is, so they're currently having like a promotion, but after
Yeah.
that it's like $55 a week, which is a lot. But then
For how many classes?
unlimited classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can go for any amount you want. So I feel like I need that money coming out of my account to kind of push me
Yeah.
to go, because if it was like $15 a week, I can tell you right now, I ain't going for those classes.
Do you also have to pay the gym out of, like, after that? Like, after, or is the 55 including the gym?
55 includes all of that.
Oh, that's good. 'cause
Yeah,
even if you get, like, a personal trainer, that's going to cost you, like, $60.
Exactly.
And that's, like, for 2 sessions or one
exactly.
session max.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So it's good. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. So it's like it keeps me going, and I like that community. And also, like, every morning when I wake up, I'm like, I can't do this. I feel like death. I can't get up.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
I'm like, I know I'll feel better after. And
I
then
know.
you keep
It's
telling yourself
crazy
that.
how like sometimes I remember like I really don't want to go to the gym. I really don't want to, but it's the pump you feel after. I just don't know how that
Absolutely.
happens. I
Absolutely.
can't, like, it's like magic. I
Yeah.
keep telling everyone who keeps telling me like they can't go to the gym or they're not motivated or anything, but
Yeah.
I just can't. I don't know how to describe it. It's just
Yeah.
magical, the feeling you feel
You just
afterwards.
need to, I feel like you need to, like, trust the process and know that
Yeah.
it's going to feel better after. I mean,
Yeah.
like, the first couple of days I couldn't walk because obviously I
Oh.
hadn't worked out for so long. So I
Yeah.
went back. I was literally like limping. It was so bad. It was so embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I was in so much pain. But after that, it gets better, obviously, as you go.
Yeah.
And like, then you just keep going. You want to keep going because you can
Yeah.
see your body changing, and you can see like how good it makes you feel. So you just want to
Yeah.
keep going. And I think to
Oh,
get that, you just need to push yourself like the first few days or weeks,
100%.
and then
Yeah.
it'll be worth it. I
I
guess that's a lot.
remember I remember the first week. So obviously I wasn't someone who worked out at all. Like I think 2 or 3 years ago, consistently started going to the gym like after I moved to Adelaide from Melbourne.
Okay.
I remember the first week. So I got a personal trainer, and then I did one session with her, and then the rest of the week I couldn't even get out of bed. It was so painful. I couldn't go to the toilet. I couldn't get out of bed. It was so painful.
Yeah.
And then I remember MJ started to decided that it was and on top of that I had gotten my first
Who is
COVID
MJ, by
vaccine.
the way?
So
For
MJ
those
is
of
my
you,
partner.
for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, so he's my partner, and then on top of that week of me having my first gym session, I got my first COVID vaccine also.
Oh gosh.
So half of my body was like paralyzed, and then MJ decided it was a good idea to wash the bed sheets, the quilt cover, and everything. And
Of
I was like,
course.
"Have you gone mad? I can't like lift a finger at this point." And I
Yeah.
was so mad, and he was like feeling sick also, and we were just like, should we just sleep without the sheets? Should we just do it? But of course we didn't. But yeah, I remember that.
I
It
mean,
was
there's
so
no
painful.
judgment if you did, because honestly, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, but I remember that first week being so hard, but then it gets easier and easier, and your muscles adapt. And
Exactly. So speaking about Melbourne, like you mentioned that you moved from Melbourne, like
Yeah.
what was that transition like? Is it similar to Adelaide, or what can you say?
Yeah, so in terms of that convenience, Melbourne was definitely super easy and very chill. But I think I feel like even like going to Sri Lanka back then, it felt like Sri Lanka felt like going home. But now when I come back to Adelaide, Adelaide feels more like home now. Like I have a lot of I have work, I have MJ, and I have a lot of friends, and it's a little more. It's very chill and I don't know, very much more peaceful than Adelaide,
It would be. Yeah.
and everything's so much prettier and greener. And yeah, so I do.
I'm guessing
I do
it's not as
really love-
busy as Melbourne, obviously.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
But to each their own. I love both. I've
Exactly.
got friends in both. But yeah. But how's Queensland? How's Brisbane? How's where you're now?
Yes, so I've always been in Queensland since I moved here. I have traveled to Australia from the time I was quite young because my mum's, all her siblings, her whole family lives in New South Wales, in Sydney. So from the time I was quite young, we were going back and forth, but then we were mostly in New South Wales. But when I moved to Queensland, it's very similar to Sri Lanka in terms of weather. It is quite hot, quite humid, very tropical. And when I came 8 years ago, it actually wasn't that busy. But now in the last like 5-6 years, I can see how busy it's gotten. I can see such a distinct change. But I was living closer to the city, and now I've moved away little by little away from the city, and now we're kind of living close to the beach, to the water, which I absolutely love. Like, I'm very grateful. I'm such a water baby. I love the ocean. I love going to the beach. So especially doing quite a stressful job, it really helps being close to something that I love. And I can actually like see the water from my classroom, which is amazing because
That's so
I
nice.
know it's great. When I'm very stressed, I have that outlet, which is great. But so I was actually in Melbourne a few like weeks ago. I went there for a short holiday, and I completely know what you mean in terms of the crowd. Like, there's a massive Sri Lankan population there, like massive.
It's like the second Sri Lanka.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can like you can't even compare to other states because it's so big, and like it's great. It has its perks, obviously, where you've got the food and the family, the friends, all that is there. But like you say, each to their own. Some people prefer that. Some people kind of prefer
Yeah.
to stay away from it. I like a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So when I have like holidays, I'm able to like go, savor
That's
that,
right.
savor that in
Yeah.
in small doses, and then come
Yeah.
back, to Queensland, which, like you say, like to me, Queensland's home now. Brisbane is home, and I love it. I feel, very, very much a part of the culture and the community here. And I like, to be honest, I don't really have a huge friend group here. As I think, as much as even you, I feel like you guys have more friends than what I do have here. A lot of my friends are a lot older than me, which I mean, it's fine. I like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Um,
same. I think, yeah, a lot of my friends are older than me too. But in the same way, there's a lot you can learn. They've
Absolutely.
already had the experiences you're
Exactly.
about to have. So it's like
Exactly.
nice.
That's the thing. Yes. So it's that is really nice. And I've got like a second mum here basically, who is like one of my very
Oh,
closest friends. I call her my work mum. So I've got her here. So I've got those little things, and of course Ryan, my husband, he's obviously here as well. So we've got our little routine here of just work and going to the beach on
yeah.
our days off, going to the markets, that kind of thing. But I'm trying to be better at having, like, doing things out of work more, because I sometimes tend to
Yeah.
get so lost in work and like in my head about work. Like, I would come home and think about work. I would go to bed thinking about the kids. And I think
Yeah.
that's just a part and parcel of being a teacher, and especially being in special
Yeah.
ed. So I'm trying to be better at disconnecting. So, like you say, how you leave your job
Yeah.
when you come back to Adelaide. I live quite close to my workplace, so it's a little hard for me to disconnect, because sometimes I walk
Yeah.
past my workplace when I'm going to the beach, that kind of thing. So I'm trying to be
Yeah.
better at that, at disconnecting, so that I can not burn out. I think for me, that's the biggest thing. I just really don't want to burn
Yeah.
out at a very early stage in my career. And it has happened, it happens to
Yeah.
teachers a lot. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. But yeah, so we're getting distracted from what you asked me. But yeah, Brisbane, yeah, I love living here, and I love when my parents visit from overseas. I feel like from Sri Lanka, they feel like this is their home as well, because it's quite similar, like I said, to Sri Lanka.
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. It's the
yes.
best feeling, isn't it? Like getting your parents to come visit you here.
It's
Like it's
amazing.
better than sometimes it's better than I would imagine it's better than going to Sri Lanka, because then they get to experience
Absolutely.
yeah, Australia and that culture, and it's so nice because I feel like at this age you see your parents and they're so different to when you
Oh,
remember, like you remember them when you
absolutely.
were young, and it's so different to see, and they're like little children now. And I just, yeah, they're so adorable. I've never like I don't think growing up I never thought my mom as like
What you
adorable,
see
but
her
now
now, I
yeah,
know.
yeah, and she's just like a bundle of joy right now.
I know. I
She's
think
so
that,
cute.
yeah, that is another topic on its own, which we will get into, like
Yeah.
parents, our upbringing, back home. Like you say, like my mom's like my best friend now, which I would have never ever thought would happen.
Yes.
So it changes, and
Yeah.
like you say, I love having them here with me. It's
You've heard
amazing.
about it, but you've never thought you'd
I
experience
know,
this.
yeah.
You'd be
I
like,
did.
That's never gonna happen.
Exactly. Like so many people told me, like, trust me, she will become your best friend. I'm like, there's no way. But I'm like,
No way in
yes,
hell.
I know. But now I'm like, I just need her
Yeah.
with me all the time,
Yeah. That's true.
Have your parents visited Adelaide since you guys moved? Or?
No, they've never been to Adelaide. My mum's visited me, I think, so she came to Melbourne with me when I first came here.
Yeah.
And then she visited me later that year as well. And after that, she has not. She's obviously, we've still got our grandparents in Sri Lanka, so she doesn't want to leave them.
Fair
and
enough,
there's this whole drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah.
yeah.
Um,
So I think, this, like we said, so this podcast, the whole point of us kind of having this podcast or starting this podcast is to kind of talk about our experiences. And how long have you been in Australia?
6 years
6
now.
years, okay. So 6 years, 8 years of experience. And for anyone even like coming here, like what can you kind of expect? And just to, talk about what we've been through. And if
Yeah.
people who haven't experienced it listen to it, to know this is what other people kind of experience. Because I personally love listening to what other people go through and their experiences. And I think that's why we kind of thought we'll, have this podcast and see how it goes. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. And, if you have
Yeah,
any
I think-
feedback, let us know.
Yeah, of course. And I think you have, like at this day and age, you have so much information out there about
Absolutely.
what Australia is, what you can experience.
Yeah.
But everyone's experience is
It's
different.
different. Yeah.
Everyone's experience in different states is different. And I think there's always something you can learn from everyone's experience.
Yeah.
And no one's journey is the same, so
Yep.
there's a lot to share, there's a lot to learn and lot to enjoy. And yeah, and while it has been like, sometimes hard, sometimes almost unbearable, it has also been very fun, very
Exactly.
joyful.
Yeah.
And I think we can all look back and see, like of course, when we came here, we were quite young, and I don't think we knew what we were doing and what we were
Absolutely
supposed to be
not.
doing.
Yep.
But looking back, you can see that we've come such a long way, and I think we wouldn't have it any other way. So
No, definitely.
I think it's very, I think it's a very very happy memory and a very joyful experience. So it's gonna be quite interesting and exciting to share that with everyone.
Yes, I think so too. So that's like we said at the start of the podcast, it's going to be a very chill, very relaxed kind of, nothing too serious, just two girls just chatting, just bantering. That's what it is. And if you have like any questions or suggestions or anything, we would love to hear that as well. Or, what we can do better and what you would like to hear us talk about.
Yeah, I'm sure
like-
this first episode is very chaotic and very confusing and very...
I can
don't
guarantee that we've been, we've been talking about this, we've been talking about this all day and like constant video calls back and forth.
yeah, how to get this going.
Yes, so I hope it's worth it in the end, and I hope
And I'm
everyone-
sure with time we will get better.
We will.
perfect
I promise
it
you we
as
will.
much as we can.
Yes,
Yeah,
we will, definitely.
So hopefully we can meet everyone back in another second episode.
In our second episode, yes, I look forward to that, and I look forward to having more conversations with you, Desh.
Yeah, me too. I
Okay.
think it's going to be lit.
It's gonna be lit. Okay, that's what the kids say
That's
these
a big
days,
promise.
guys.
Yeah. But no, thank you so much again for everyone who's listened to the first episode, and thank you, Shenali, for joining with me to have a little
It's
chat.
been my absolute pleasure, and I look forward to the next one. So I hope you guys all have a really good week.
Yep.
And everything goes according to plan, and everyone's happy and healthy and relaxed. And we'll talk to you next time.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Take care, everyone.
See
Bye.
you.